space and time that we make for each other. And, if you caught me maybe 20 minutes ago, I was giving the most, eloquent, poetic introduction mentioning Stardust. And I said, we're going to be joined by some more Stardust who goes by the name of Tom Mayhew. Tom, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I am doing remarkable. I was speaking about how comedians have the magic of, dissipating depression, getting rid of the things, the moods, the mindsets that really take us down a dark path. Comedians have this knack or ability or just intuitive skill to tap into us when we're holding on to bad thoughts. And I feel like you deserve the quote, magician of the night right now, Tom, because you hopefully are going to do the same thing for me at my BBC Radio London Familia.
Hey, man, that's really good. Can I put that on my next Edinburgh poster, Magician of the Night?
Of course. Listen, just quote me, all right? just give me a little quote. How you doing tonight, Tom?
Oh, good, thanks, man. You were talking about social media before, and I was looking at your Twitter and a picture of you at the premiere for Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
And you looked incredible, man.
Hey, compliments get you everywhere with me, my friend. Thank you so much. It was a night to remember. I have to say, this is my first time on what they call a black carpet, because the carpet was black. And I was like, oh, this is nice. And the flashing lights were there. I was like, oh, this is nice. Then there were the free drinks and food. I was like, oh, I was in a really good mood, man. So thank you so much.
Oh, man, if there's free drinks and food, I'm there. Do you know what I
mean? You can't say no to that. Well listen, right? I think comedy is almost better than free food and free drinks because it's the one thing. It is. Let me give you the reason why, okay? I remember going to a few open mic nights, in my early days, and many of my friends are comedians too. And I never used to tell anyone, I'm going through it right now. It's hard at home, or I'm struggling after finishing university and I haven't got a job. And you'd be there, sitting in the seat, hopefully in the back, because some comedians like to, heckle the audience, and I didn't want that to be me. And then all of a sudden, a magician like you would say something in such a way or such a facial expression, and I forget everything I was going through, and my night is changed for good. And that's why I think you guys, you're almost better than home cooked food and free drinks. You are.
Wow.
You just change a person's mind who feels like it's just concrete at that moment.
Oh man, I should speak to you every day. I like
Come on.
This is like a self-help book or something. This is incredible.
I mean, listen, if you didn't get told it today, yeah, I think there really needs to be more. This is going to sound so. However this sounds, this is how it sounds, right? There needs to be more appreciation for comedians. You are not just people who tell jokes. You are architects of moods and mind states, and how people can change the way they experience their own life. I can remember so many. All right, I'm yapping. Tom, let me stop there. All right, you've got me on the forefront of this conversation. I want you to be at the forefront of this conversation. Where did your journey begin?
My journey it kind of links to what you were saying, really. Like when I was a teenager, I wasn't very good at speaking to people and very good at interacting with people. I was very shy, very quiet, and kind of writing comedy was the outlet for me. I loved writing comedy and writing jokes. So my first sort of set was about just being very insecure and very awkward and not really liking myself. And I think that's really what I always think. I've said I think far too much already, but comedy that's what it is. It's, it is jokes, it is silliness, it is laughter, but it's also a way of processing things that you're maybe not massively happy about, or processing really tricky, difficult situations and turning them into something funny. Like the best feeling in the world is when you look back 10 years at something that was horrible, and then you look back and go, God, I've got a really good joke about that now. And that's incredible, man. It kind of seems very counterintuitive or weird, but really it's the best feeling in the world, going like, yeah, I've got a really good joke about that awful situation that hopefully can make other people in that situation laugh or smile when they're struggling.
And that's a powerful thing to achieve. Listen, for my BBC Radio London Familia right now, who may be going through it, make sure you stay tuned with me and Tom, because right now, Tom, I'm going to put you on a spot. All right, I'm going to put you on a spot. Do you find it easy navigating those memories of times that may not have been the best, and you've managed to put it into humor, into a very constructed joke. How do you find that process? Is it easy for you, or does it become triggering at points?
Nah, man, it's the latter. It's not easy at all. I think most my favourite routines or favourite jokes or pieces of comedy I've ever written, they've come from really tough, tricky places. And like the first time I tried to write jokes about them, I might have been crying. I might have been that down and that sad, trying to think of this moment and trying to make it funny. But then eventually, when you turn it into something really funny, that's just the best feeling, because you're like, damn, this used to be something where I would look back and go, yeah, that was a really horrible time. But now I can look back and go, oh, I turned that into a really, really good routine.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, because that's the thing. People go, I don't know how you do that sometimes with that. And you go, yeah, I don't know really either.
I feel like you're a poet as well now. All right, I'm going to put you into the category of poets, because that's what we do. We find a wound, we find something that, really hurt us or damaged us or impacted us, and we turn it into something that becomes a resource for others. Well,
I got a lot of love for the poetry community. I just think, comedians are basically just poets with jokes, frankly.
Yeah, I'm going to quote you on that one. I'm definitely going to quote you on that one. I love that.
I should clarify, there are some funny poets as well. I feel like I've just accidentally dissed all poets.
Listen, I didn't take offense. I did not take offense. Well, listen, I want to throw this into your Edinburgh show, all right, that is coming to Soho Theatre. Does it, touch on the similar themes and processes of your work?
Yeah, my Edinburgh show this year was very much influenced by what's going on in real life. It was influenced by the cost of living crisis and being skint and kind of growing up skint, and how that makes me view the current situation where they're going, oh, everyone's poor now. And I'm like, yeah, I've always been poor, mate. It's not really new for me. I'm from a family, so it's kind of influenced by that. And this show, more than anything else, was really, really hard to make some of it funny, because this show isn't me looking back 5 years and going, oh, yeah, it was really tough when I signed on 5 years ago. This show is me going, yeah, it's really tough right now, and it's going to be really tough in the next 6 months. Yeah. So it has been hard to make it funny, but also I think it's crucial that people do laugh at tough situations, even when you're going through it, because, if you don't laugh during a tough situation, then you're just going to be crying 24/7. And to get through really tough times, there has to be laughs, there has to be smiles, there has to be a bit of light, and sometimes that can just be from a silly joke where you're just, taking the mickey out of the absurdities.
So what do people say to you after your performances? Because, whenever I do poetry, there's always a conversation or a line of hugs. There's either one or the other. What about gigs. You?
I've had it with my Edinburgh shows before when people want to give me a hug, because it's very honest and very truthful about, up and downs and stuff. So I've had it before where I've had the line of hugs, and they're my favourite gigs, because you're just like, yeah, this is really nice. I wish I had that when I worked at Sainsbury's at the end of a shift, just a line of people going, that was a hard shift, mate. Do you want a hug? It'd be beautiful.
It never happens in those kind of circumstances, which just goes to show, when you do create an environment where people feel open to feel things, new things, thoughts they may have had, particularly when it resonates with experiences, for someone like myself and you who've gone through hard times before, right? Who's still going through hard times now, to find an artistic outlet where it kind of creates a community, it kind of creates this resonated community who say, I've been through what you just said. I'm going through what you've just said right now, and you've helped me find some joy in it, some joy in a difficulty. That's an ultimate super. You are like the Thanos of comedy, man. That is how you think about it. That is how you just make everyone just pause from the click of your finger, and all of a sudden everything doesn't matter anymore.
Mate, you're just giving me, again, another quote for future posters. Like, I think my next Edinburgh Fringe poster is just going to be LionHeart all over it. Like,
so at the Soho Theatre, right? When is this going to be starting? Is it started already? Is it starting next week? When can people actually go to it?
It's 10 days away, man. It's coming up, November the 15th and November the 16th. That's my show, Trash Rich, at the Soho Theatre. And I say to people, it's a show about, money and the cost of living, and they go, oh, that sounds quite heavy, but really, it's just me taking the mickey out of posh people for a lot of it. So,
And do you change any jokes leading up to it? Like, do you ever feel like, you know what, it's 2 days before the show, should I really put this joke in, or do you keep it rigid?
No, I think it always has to be fluid. It always has to be able to change, even on the day. You know, literally, some days you'll have the show planned, and 10 minutes into the show, you'll be talking to someone in the front row, and that will change
Oh my gosh. Tom, you're one of those. That look how confident you are. Look how confident you are. Do you know how hard it is to just, all right, I'm gonna remix this joke right now, or do you know, I'm gonna use what you just said, and you know, almost become like a battle rap freestyler. I'm giving you too many quotables. You become like this comedian battle rap freestyler and just go with the flow. So it's different with poetry because, you know, you tend to want to stick to the script. You tend to want to articulate an emotion you've already premeditated, you've already constructed. How do you find it live in the moment when you think, you know, I'm just going to say this. This is off the cuff, but I'm going to give it a shot. Are you nervous? Do you experience anxiety? What propels you to do that?
I love it. No, I absolutely love it, man. Because I think, like, once you've done it so many times, there's part of you that knows how it goes. You know it word for word. You know every single sort of modicule of every intonation you'd say in the sentence. And then when you can mix it up, when you can do it a bit different, it's really exciting. And I always just think I'd rather take a risk and it not go as well than just play it safe and it go fine. Like, I just think it's always worth taking the risk. And the joy of a live art form and a live performance is the fact that the audience are part of it and they do shape what the show is, because if they're not shaping it, it may as well be a film. Like, so I do feel like you need to always be in the room, especially doing stand-up. I know obviously poetry's very different. Like,
right.
Unless have you never done like improv poetry then?
Oh wait, no, Tom, I have, but I'll be giving you some more scenes for your show, so I'm not gonna go into that area. But I have definitely embarrassed myself twice. And I think it was embarrassing, but the people who I performed for, again, formed the queue of hugs. So I don't know if I'm just, you know, I don't see the beauty in what I did, maybe because I didn't get to really experience what they experienced.
I mean, yeah, that's either a really awful gig or a really great gig, and I can't tell which.
I'm hoping it was the good one. I'm hoping it was a good one. You know, you mentioned the word movie, and I've seen some comedians, particularly in the States. I don't know if it's easier to transition from, you know, stand-up comedy to movie star in the States than it is in the UK. But do you feel like that's an avenue you're looking to go down at some point?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would do anything I get offered, anything that I could do, really. Like, I think when you first fall in love with an art form or an industry or, you know, comedy in my case, I just thought, yeah, the dream is to be one of those people who do everything. You want to be someone who does a bit of stand-up, who appears on panel shows, who also pops up in films and sitcoms and on the radio. Just because, like, if you're not shooting for the moon, then what are you doing here, really? You may as well at least go, yeah, I would love to be able to do that. Whether it will happen or not is a very different question, because, I mean, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I do not appear in Wakanda Forever, which you all know.
I don't appear in Wakanda Forever, yeah?
I mean, in my head, you now do, because I've just got that image of you at the premiere, and I'm like, he's probably in it. You know, he looks cool enough. I
would have loved that. That would have been a highlight for me. Oh my goodness, that I would have really, really loved that. You got to see it when it comes out, my friend. It's absolutely a stunner, man. Some real emotional parts. But this is why I think you would be great in a movie, because if you can captivate someone on the tough times and still find it funny, there is something in that which a lot of people who create stories can't do, which is balance the humor with trauma. That's what a lot of people can't do. You can do either one or the other. It's a drama, it's a comedy. I know they have a thing called a dramedy now, but to really speak to the truthful experiences of the UK, I think you got something there. And I don't know if you're going to, you know, pitch it to a production company, but if you do need a charismatic, you know, poetic comedian, I know a couple. He likes going to cinemas. So if you do, just give me a shout. I love to be there, man. I think that's something that we need to do a bit more. We're seeing, you know, the comedian platforms like Amazon, Netflix, Sky, all sorts. But to see someone really give their truthful experiences about, you know, how they are with money, with careers and love, that for me is powerful.
Yeah, man. Well, I think it's something that's really overlooked, the whole money topic, because I think a lot of people just don't talk about it. Like, I've got a bit in the show about how when I was growing up, Mum would always be like, "Oh, we don't talk about money," and I'm like, "Well, why not? Because it's kind of one of the most important things in the world." Like,
yes, and school as well. You know, the only time I remember talking about money was in math class when I had a sum to understand, and even then I thought, "Well, you haven't told me about taxes yet." You know, I
no,
haven't done-
exactly. That's the thing. You turn 18. You're like, no one's taught me this stuff. I have no idea how taxes work. Like, I remember when I got my student loan and we had to pay it back, and I had no idea that you had to pay interest. So I was like, why is it going up?
Why
Because
is it going up?
But I'd already taken it, and I had no idea why it was going up. And I swear none of this stuff is explained to you. They're just like, oh yeah, that happens, and you're like, oh man.
Really, in my head, it was like, wait, I have to pay this back? This is not a gift from the school. Is it? No? Oh, okay, all right, I'll figure this out. Yeah, this is so interesting as well. You know, so many people don't realize when you find something funny, you've unraveled it. You've almost dismantled a Rubik's cube of confusion. Humor makes you understand and comprehend things on such a deeper level. Would you agree with that?
I mean, when you say it so poetically, how could I not?
I've had that.
What was that? Rubik's Cube of confusion, was that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I could speak to you all day. This is incredible.
Do you know what,
like,
Tom? The next time I get the invite to these cinema screenings, you got to go, man. You just done it now. I've got to figure out a way to make this happen, mate.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you weren't already a poet, I'd be like, oh, you should be a poet. But you are, so I'm just like, oh, it's impressive. Just really, really nice.
Well, listen, you are impressive, my friend, and I want people to know why they should
Bless
go
you,
to
man.
your show, which is happening in 10 days. So before we go, before we finish talking about me, let's talk about you. What are you proud of the most regarding this show?
I'm proud of the fact that it's very honest and it's very upfront and very funny about a topic that not many people speak about openly. Like the whole premise of writing the show, you have to think, what do I want the show to be about? And I was like, I want the show to be about money and money struggles, but also make it funny. And after you work on the show for 6 months, you go, oh, finally it's there. It didn't feel possible at times, but it gets there. And I'm really, really proud of the fact that it's the kind of show where people could come up to me afterwards and be like, I've never seen it explained that way, and I really appreciate you doing it. And that's the best feeling in the world as an artist.
My friend, this is for you. And for anyone else who is going to go to your show, all right? What is it called again for our BBC Radio London familia? Remind us.
It's called Trash Rich, and it's at the Soho Theatre.
My friend, where can they get tickets?
Just sohotheatre.com, or it's pinned at the top of my Twitter page, I think. I mean, if it's not, I'm tweeting about it every day until the show because we got to sell tickets.
That's right.
So,
So let us know where to find you as well on social media, right? Your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook. Let us know it all.
At Tom Mayhew on Twitter, at Tom Mayhew Comedy on Instagram, and I think it's at Tom Mayhew Comedy on Facebook as well. And just say hello there. It'd be lovely to chat to you.
Tom, do not be a stranger, my friend. I look forward to welcoming you back on this show. And I always say this to my producer, right? He knows how to get some really good-hearted people, particularly comedians. And you happen to be one of my faves tonight, all right? You take care, and I'll speak to you soon, all right?
You too, man. Look after yourself.